Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, Sunday. Forgive me. It's Sunday. I am feeling exhausted, but we are marching. We have to march on. Who says that you march when you're real relaxed and have no issues or are feeling like the morning sun? Oh. So as I had promised yesterday, today we're going to look at who is wisdom. What is this thing that Proverbs, Solomon, David, God is just talking about? Get wisdom, gain wisdom. Isn't wisdom calling out on the streets? So the verse that is quite clear on who this wisdom is, listen how it's described. The Lord brought me forth as the first of his works, before his deeds of old. I was formed long ages ago, at the very beginning when the world came to be. When there was no watery depths, I was given birth. When there were no springs overflowing with water, before the mountains were settled in place, before the hills, I was given birth. Before he made the world or its fields, or any of the dust of the earth, I was there when he set the heavens in place. And what we can say, yes, I'm getting to why narcissism is why we need wisdom. It shows we know that God did not do I say create anything using his hands apart from the human being, but everything else was let there be, and his spirit moved. So the first Proverbs that I ever got to understand is Proverbs 8. And let me say, hi, my name is Wanjiko. I'm a counseling psychologist, and we are going through the month of March as we go through the book of Proverbs, understanding, getting an aspect of what does Proverbs say about toxic relationship? What does it say about narcissistic people? What does it say? Not just people, but them being your partners. What does this say about abusers? So, when you have been in this relationship for a while, there's a place that reaches, and you're like, God, Jehovah, Lord, my people, and everyone else in my life, I have thrown in the towel. Like, I am done. I have done everything. You will find that someone has been praying and fasting. Someone has gone for therapy. They have gotten mediators. They have gone for community meetings. These things that I forget what they're called. These ones who come and negotiate for both ends, if it's the woman, if it's the lady, because a marriage is not just about two people. I have come to learn. A marriage is for the society, just like the way children are for the society. Example, like myself, Miriki. My marriage is not about just me. It's for me and my Mirikis and my partner. All right? That you find if ever there was a problem and we say me and whomever the partner is, there is an issue, it won't be just me, but the two families come and sit together and, and negotiate. Now, Proverbs 8 tells us, you see, at that junction, at that place where you have done all these other things that you believe are good, they are worth, that you have done this and done the other. At that junction, at that point where, let me call it, you've hit rock bottom with everything and there's nothing else, then at that point, wisdom steps in. However, you have to allow, and you have to have the aspect, the angle of allowing wisdom, right? So I've not even completed explaining who wisdom is. So yes, as I was saying, it wasn't God who, yes, God spoke and everything was because of his spirit, his power, which is the Holy Spirit, and dwells in and among us. At least for those ones who are born again, at least for those ones who are Christian, they are believers and believe that Christ is a master of their life, that he died and resurrected. So at this point when you feel like all is lost and wisdom and the power steps in, then there is a shift. We've said the Holy Spirit is all-knowing. We've said wisdom is knowing, having a knowledge and an understanding that is not just about books, that is not about just streets, but is about even the future. It's about the past. It's about understanding patterns. It's about knowing how to break free, how to break them, how to gain back your strength, gain back your power, gain back your resources, or even if you didn't have those resources, but it's about getting new ones. So Proverbs 8 is clear on that. It's not all lost, but you have to reach rock bottom. You have to let go. Like, when you've reached rock bottom, the only other way is up. And now when you submit and you give yourself to moving up to the wisdom, then there is a shift. Do you remember the things that you were talking about yesterday, that you will be afraid to lose the investments, the name, the identity? Then Proverbs 8 is a restoration that comes, that even what you thought you were losing, you gain it because you have wisdom to be able to move forward, to be able to create anew, not to create anew. That the pride that once was, because also here we are given a description of narcissistic, toxic people, because it says that still God hates this behavior, this kind of representation that this kind of people have, which is pride, arrogance, evil behavior. They have perverse speech. That these people will never speak anything that is concrete, that is good, that is going to build in any way. There's a level of arrogance that a narcissistic human being has, because they know or believe that no one can do anything to them. It's so bad for some that they believe even God, like there's nothing that even God can do. Like there's no fear of anything or anyone. And also what we know is that pride comes before a fall. And that is not just a saying, but in this chapter 8, truly there's going to be that fall, that fall, because anywhere that God is hating a behavior that you know and has been called out, because even in at least in most of those Kamukunji meetings, they try, at least where I have been, they try to balance situations and not just siding with one person. So if there's pride and arrogance, they'll try and point it out. But of course, the other person feels it's a bluff. There's nothing you will do to me. But in chapter 8, there's a reassurance that watch daily at the door. Watch daily what happens when you shift your eye from the proud person, the arrogant partner, the perverse speech, the evilness in them. Watch daily what happens when you move your focus. And it's not something easy. And I hope, I'm not very certain if it's in Proverbs, but I better note it down, that we can have a time, or at least one of the episodes, to help us move and be able to be able to win back ourselves so that our eyes, our minds, our focus, our being, our dreams are moved from this toxic partner, this narcissistic partner, to first you as a person, to you as the individual, and you as an individual, but with a power that is super amazing. And of course, the power being God. To shift in a way that it's not about their words, it's not about their pride, it's not about their arrogance, it's not about how they treat you behind closed doors or in public, but you're able to shift and see that at the end of the day, you also have a purpose, you also have a say, you also are loved, first of course by God, and then how you redeem yourself from such a situation. Like, I hope it can actually be practical, not just saying. So if anyone wants that before we get to the end of Proverbs, or we continue looking at the book of Proverbs, you can DM so that we can also have a session. You can also reach out to me. Apart from the DM, you can send me an email on wanjiko@psychologistoncall.com, because also it's not everyone who is moving at the same pace or is able to move at the same pace. There are those ones who wake up like almost immediately, and then there are those ones who take some time, because of course realizing that this is the kind of relationship that you go through also a grief. And speaking of grief, there's also a book, an ebook, which you can get on Seller. I'll put the link somewhere down below. And so of course, going through the grief, and then you've lost this relationship that you had put on a pedestal, and realizing, oh my gosh, everything is crumbling down. There is of course the process of healing. So it's not all lost. It truly isn't. So today, what is the point? At the crossroads, at the junction of where you're like, I'm done, and maybe you don't know which way forward, wisdom is here. Now, understand who wisdom is. Like today, the thing is, understand who wisdom is. And wisdom is not just for some people. It's praying and you receive, and studying the word, and getting help yourself, and never think that you're too big to get help. All right? So kindly share, kindly subscribe or follow. And yeah, let's see where it goes. Enjoy the evening, the day of today, and we'll see you tomorrow as we move on to day 9. Thank you and ciao.